War. War never changes. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the first episode of the Fallout series. This is something I've been waiting for quite a while, since I heard it was coming, and especially since it came out, it's been something that I've been excited for, because I haven't heard much of any spoilers with this, but I have heard that it is exceptionally well received, like Last of Us levels of well received. And that's a big deal. The fact that we're getting multiple video game based streaming series in the recent years that are getting this kind of critical acclaim is astounding. Like this has already been renewed for season 2. We're already confirmed to be getting season 2 of the Fallout series this soon. And that's insane. That's absolutely insane in the best way, of course. Because this is a series that I think scratches a certain itch for people. People like their science fiction. And people like their apocalypse stories. These are two specific things that just usually sell pretty well. On top of that, the Fallout series is a really huge series of video games. And you have the arguments over what's better. Oh, I like Fallout 3 the best. I like New Vegas. I like Fallout 4. And it's like, people can like what they want, of course, but I just don't like it when people try to like gatekeep. It's like, oh, you like Fallout 4 the best? You're not a true Fallout fan. Everyone knows New Vegas is the best. I hate people like that. I really do. Now let me talk about my history with this series. So I had not heard of Fallout until pretty well after I had already discovered the Elder Scrolls games through Skyrim. I discovered Skyrim in, I believe it was in 2011 or 2012. If it was 2011, it was obviously shortly after it came out, because it came out at the end of 2011. Or it might have been the beginning of 2012. Either way, I discovered it around that time, and I didn't discover Fallout until a friend recommended me Fallout 3 years later. Like, I'm talking like 2015. And I'm not huge with sci-fi. Like, I prefer fantasy, I prefer dramas and comedies and stuff. There's some sci-fi stuff I like, of course. And there's definitely, like, global apocalypse stuff that I really enjoy. But it's not usually my go-to. Let me explain it this way. So, I am currently playing through, and I think getting close to the end of, a game called Horizon Zero Dawn. And from what I know of the game, I'm not going to go into too much spoilers here, but it is post-apocalyptic. Also, from what I know of it, I'm almost done with it, so it is post-apocalyptic, but it's also very sci-fi. The apocalypse that occurred and the world that is now being lived in is very connected to science fiction tropes. Like, one of the main things about the game that pretty much everyone knows is that it centers around, fighting machines. These animal-like machines. And so science fiction is very much baked into it. It's a science fiction game. And again, normally those aren't really my thing as much. But I have been enjoying this one. And mind you, I'll be completely honest here. For like the first half of the game, I was just like very casual enjoyment. It's just like, yeah, this is okay. I'm enjoying it enough to continue. But it's like I would also like have like weeks between playing it. I'd like play a few hours and then I wouldn't play again for weeks. And now I've gotten to a point in the story where it started like really kicking off and started actually getting interesting. And I haven't been able to put it down. I have literally played every single day this week. Every single day since Monday. I have played it in the evening. After doing all the recordings, after doing all of that stuff, I took the time, sat down, and played it. Because I'm invested now. And it took a while to get there. And I'm going to be completely honest about that. A good portion of it, like maybe the first 60%, like over half, was honestly just kind of okay. There were certain aspects of it that were good, certain quests I liked, certain moments, but overall, it's like nothing to write home about, nothing to get excited over. But once the story really started coming into play, once it really started to kick into full gear, that's when it became more interesting and more investing. And even with where it's at now, I still wouldn't consider it on the level of a lot of other things. It's not going to be in my top 10 games. It's not on that level for me. But it's become a lot more engaging as a play. And I'm saying all this because that's kind of how I always viewed Fallout. It's like I tried playing Fallout 3 and I could not get into it. It's like I'm not invested in this. I'm not engaged with the story or the characters. And even comparing it to something like Skyrim, it's like I got so much more invested almost instantly in Skyrim. Because I tend to get more invested in stuff that are like fantasy based and whatnot. So I at one point tried out Fallout New Vegas, a very small amount, mind you, but I found it incredibly boring. And mind you, I played a very small amount. So it's very possible that if I tried again, maybe I could end up enjoying it. And then for Fallout 4, I never actually tried playing it myself because I didn't have anything that could. But instead, I watched a Let's Play by Steven Plays. And when I was not sitting there trying to play it, I found that I enjoyed it a lot more. I could just sit back and enjoy the story, the characters, etc. when I'm not trying to play it. And I think that's part of maybe my issue. I don't like shooters. I do not enjoy shooters. They are not enjoyable to me. On very rare occasion, you might find a shooter that I can enjoy, like 007 GoldenEye. But like 90% of the time, if it's a shooter, it's going to not appeal to me at all. Because they're not fun to me. And yes, part of that I will acknowledge is I'm not good at them. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not good at them. I'm not good at the aiming and shooting, especially in high tension situations. I won't deny that. But that's not the only reason. I just also just don't find them fun. They're not entertaining to me. I don't enjoy that kind of gameplay. And I know technically you probably can play Fallout like with I don't know, stun batons or whatever, but it's much more difficult. And I know there's VATS and everything that like helps you. It's basically aim assist. Um and that makes it a little more doable, but it's not one of those games that I've ever found myself invested in terms of playing. But like I said, when I watched when I watched him play through Fallout 4, I was enjoying the story. I enjoyed the characters. It even made me cry on a couple of occasions. And so when I heard that there's a series coming out, it's like, okay, I actually do enjoy the lore, the world that this is in, the kind of characters and everything. If I don't have to actually play it and worry about, like gameplay I don't enjoy, if I can watch it like I did Fallout 4, then I'm kind of all for this. Because a lot of that story stuff, again, I do really like. Um, Now I don't know how much is going to be featured in this. I don't. I assume there's going to be quite a lot of Easter eggs to the video games. I assume there's going to be a lot of the different like iconography that we think of, different creatures and characters. I know the Brotherhood of Steel is in it. Um, I don't think I know if there's going to be super mutants in it. At least I don't think I've seen any any visuals for that. I know one of the main characters is a ghoul. I know dog meat is in it. Um, Obviously the classic vault stuff, but I don't know if there's a super mutant at all. Now, I also do know that this is its own original story. It's not based off of one of the games. It's its own thing, which is honestly what I'd prefer. Because trying to make it based off any of the stories specifically, it's like you'll get people saying no matter what, it's like, why did you choose this one? And then people will be comparing it against the original game, and no one's going to be happy. So having it be an original story just set in the same world and everything, at a slightly different period of time. I think I heard that according to the timeline, this is like the latest entry. Like all the games take place earlier than this in time, I think. Um, but I think that's just the smarter way to handle it. So I'm very curious as to how this is going to be presented and everything. I assume we're going to start before the bombs drop. I assume that's how it's going to begin. And I'm hoping that we don't have another, like, situation where the story is, oh, you have to find your family member. Because it's like both Fallout 3 and 4 did that. It's like Fallout 3, you're looking for your father. Fallout 4, you're looking for your son. And it's just like, stop. We don't want stories like that and with this franchise anymore. We don't need stories like that anymore. Those were fine for what they were. They served well, but we need different stories. We don't need a find your family member story again. And I know New Vegas was like a revenge story or whatnot, so I know that's different. Um, but yeah, I really hope that the story is just completely different. And from the trailer I saw, I only saw like the first trailer, I think. Not the teaser, the first actual trailer. It seems more like this girl, our main character, our vault dweller. It seems like she's just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm out in the big bad world now, and I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to like see what's going on here. It doesn't seem like there's any big goal, at least not from that trailer. Now, another big question is what is her vault gonna be like? Because there's different vaults that do different things. They run different kinds of experiments. Some of them, it's like, oh, you're frozen in a cryo chamber for hundreds of years. Another one, oh, it's like just seeing how people interact with each other given certain stimuli, and so on and so forth. So I'm wondering what her vault is going to be like. Is it going to be more like Fallout 3's? Is it going to be more like Fallout 4's? How's it going to go? I doubt it's going to be like Fallout 4's. I'm hoping it's something kind of new, kind of refreshing, but also a little different. You know? The one thing I'm just hoping is I'm hoping that she's not like from the old world. We don't, again, Fallout 4 already did that. We don't need to do that again. We really don't. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how this all goes down. There's a lot of questions about how this is going to be presented. And like I said, it's excessively well received. So I have high hopes. But this isn't the only thing on the channel that we should be getting excited over. Because I react to 2 different shows every day of the week. Monday through Friday specifically. On Mondays, we also do YouTube reactions. And on Wednesdays, we have been streaming through Momodora Moonlit Farewell. But I just recently finished that this past Wednesday. Have not changed the banner yet here. Sorry about that. But we will be moving on to Spider-Man next. So look forward to that. Spider-Man 2 specifically on the PS5. Every Saturday and Sunday, we also do movie reactions. They're recorded earlier in the week, but they're posted on Saturdays and Sundays. And occasionally we'll do some other content on the channel as well, such as AMVs or countdown lists or so on and so forth. But those are posted whenever I get to them, basically. There's no set schedule or whatnot, like there is with all the different series reactions we do. That all being said, though, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're just going to get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Yeah, it was great. It was a great first episode. This was pretty much a lot of what I expected. Some things I didn't, and some things I kind of wish would have been different. Let's start with that aspect of it. I mentioned in the pre-thoughts, I was really hoping they didn't do with the story, have the entire find the family member thing again. Because, like I've noted, it's been done multiple times now. I don't know what the story of the first 2 Fallout games are, but Fallout 3 and 4 both have that story. You have to find your father in Fallout 3. In Fallout 4, you have to find your son. And again, I believe New Vegas is just a revenge story, but still. I'm honestly bored of it. I'm honestly kind of bored of that concept being used. It's like using it twice is enough. Like, there's not really a need to use it again. Like, they did it in a different way, of course. Like, each way it's done is different. And it's not like you're going through the exact same beats every time. But, I mean, it does maybe feel a little lazy. Because it's especially the entire thing with the father. Like, that's been done before. Like, finding the father was, again, Fallout 3. But again, the situation, the circumstances, the specifics about it are different. That's what makes it more unique. Um, and it's not bad. It's just it's been done before. I wanted something different. But we do have two other main characters that we're following, so that does help as well. And let's talk about that. So at the end of the reaction, I kind of came to the conclusion that this was kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly situation. Just in terms of like connecting to the title, at least. I actually don't know much about that movie, but think about it. We have Lucy. Lucy is the good. She is bright-eyed, cheery, very positive, very, kind and generous and helpful. She can fight. And we see that when the raid happens. But she's not a fighter by nature. She's a lover, not a fighter, you could say. And through all of this going on, we see that even with all of her training and stuff, she's not used to this kind of thing. She's not used to this just kind of situation going on, which makes sense. I mean, she's been in the vault her entire life. Like, she's done all this training. She has martial arts training and stuff, as we saw. She has some training with a gun, even if she's not great at it. But, like, she's never actually had to utilize it. Like, to really have to worry about it. She's this character who is, like, this nice character being thrust into an unforgiving world. That's kind of the point. Meanwhile, you have Maximus. He's the bad. And I say that in terms of where he's with. He's with the Brotherhood of Steel, who are, without question, bad. Like, the Brotherhood of Steel are the bad guys. And he's with them because he, I guess, was... It's not 100% clear, but it seems like he was maybe like an orphan of war. So young that he didn't really have a life. He didn't really have anything. And the Brotherhood not only inspired him, but literally took him in. They took him in, they gave him a name, they gave him an identity, they gave him purpose. And so he works to become the best aspirant he can, so that he can eventually become a squire and possibly even a knight. And so we see that he has a good friend also training up named Dane. They, them pronouns, as we find out. And they are, they're like the only person there nice to him. Everyone else is kind of a jerk, kind of an asshole. And it's like both Maximus and Dane seem way too nice for this. They seem way too nice for the Brotherhood of Steel. And it really sucks that they're kind of, so obsessed with it. Especially Maximus. We see, like, when he's talking to the leader there during his, I guess you could call it a trial. What he says there, it's like, I'm willing to lay my life on line. I'm willing to do anything it takes for the Brotherhood. And it's like, yeah, of course the Brotherhood's going to like hearing that. That's what they want. They want you to be mindless soldiers for them, who will do what they say without hesitation, even if it means costing them their lives. It's basically like the American military. It's like, you can't question shit. If you question shit, then, you're useless to them. But yeah, he's the bad, but he's not actually a bad guy. He's just with the bad guys. And I still think that by the end of the season, he's going to see how bad they are and is going to end up leaving them, possibly to join forces with Lucy. if their stories intertwine, which they're very clearly going to. We know the ghoul is going to interact with Lucy. That was in the trailer. And speaking of the ghoul, so his name was mentioned in the beginning. I don't remember what it is right now. But he was a former soldier who ended up through various means becoming a performer, a kind of performer for hire for birthday parties and stuff. He and his daughter are at this birthday party performing for this, kid and the family around when the bombs end up dropping. And yeah, we see through this the entire the Vault Boy thumb thing. We learn the meaning of that, though I already knew the meaning of that. It's like I'm wondering how many people didn't, because it's like that was always obvious, wasn't it? I don't think it's ever. I don't think, at least, it's said in Fallout 4. I don't know if it's said in New Vegas or 3 or even 1 or 2. But it's like I just always understood that. Like I've probably heard it somewhere before. I've probably like heard it here and there, but it's like that just seems obvious anyway. It's like I mean, it doesn't really help anything, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, it's very likely that he is probably the only survivor from that party, that his daughter and everyone else there died. And I'm sure we're going to get more into that backstory, like when he first, like, ghoulified. I'm sure we're going to see, like, exactly his reaction to his daughter's death and everything. He see exactly how he got to the point he's at now with Dom or whatever, using him and everything for all these years, and then how he eventually now has escaped. So yeah, I'm very curious to see more of his backstory. But Walton Goggins was a great casting choice, and I mentioned he's like the ugly because he's a ghoul. It just literally the joke on that. Although I think it's pretty fucking hard to make Walton Goggins like unattractive, to be fair. I saw a TikTok. I think it was like at a premiere for this. But the cast and crew were being asked if they would, if the ghoul was a smash or pass for them. I'm being completely serious here, and pretty much everyone said smash. Pretty much everyone was like, "Oh, absolutely, it's Walton Goggins." A lot of them actually even just straight up said that it's Walton Goggins. It's like smash, and it's like fair. He's not like exactly my type, but he is attractive. He is absolutely attractive. Not exactly my type, but I wouldn't say no. You know what I mean? And the ghoul makeup, like, it's not, it doesn't look terrible. If that, I don't know how to explain it, but it looks really good on him. And just, you can still see his facial features underneath it, which is great. And it still feels like it's him and everything, and maybe because of the way he carries himself and all as well. It's like, yeah, absolutely. um, but the Raider attack on the vault, let's go back to that real quick, was really interesting because it's not quite what I expected to happen. As I mentioned, as I was watching along, like once we started to see some little cracks in things, I was thinking that the other vault was going to try to take over theirs. Vault 32 was going to take over 33. I hope I got the numbers right. I think 33 is the one they were living in. The one that Lucy and her father and all were living in. We know her father is from Vault 31. And I believe 32 is where the Raiders came over from. I believe. But anyway, So Lucy came, the Raiders came disguised as the members of Vault 32, and they had this entire thing like in the works for a while. And it seems like it was a very calculated move too, because the leader of them, one, is said to be someone important, like the father recognized her. Two, she knows Lucy's mother. That was made very clear because she said Lucy looked just like her. And on top of that, she tranked and kidnapped the father, not killed him. There's something more to that. I'm wondering if maybe they have something to do with Vault 31. I'm wondering if maybe she was originally from Vault 31 too, just like the father was. Or maybe there's something else to it. I don't know. But they came in, and although the brother was able to put things together, he wasn't able to do it quick enough. And the attack had already started and everything. Lucy, meanwhile, gets attacked by her new husband right after fucking. So that's fun. But yeah, things go pretty wild there, and lots of gore, lots of really violent, aggressive attacks on people. Some pretty unique and creative kills. Always a fan of that. And a lot of chaos. Luckily, a lot of them survive, though. There are quite a bit of survivors from the vault, which I actually didn't expect. Which means to me, like, the fact that they were able to escape that bomb blast and everything, the fact that they didn't, like, the Raiders didn't kill them, comes across to me as their only goal was to take the overseer, the father. Everything else they were doing was just for fun, for shits and giggles, because they're psychopaths. But their only actual main goal was to kidnap him. Which is really interesting. And the even more interesting was the fact that they gave the father the choice. It's like, your daughter or them, and he, seals his daughter in the in the pantry, or that room, whatever it is, the storage room, I guess. He seals her in there. So I'm thinking that everyone else there is going to die, but no, it's like they set off the bomb and they leave with the father, and it's like, oh yeah, you guys better run. They survive. What was the point of making that choice then? Was that just to catch him off his guard? Was there some other reason? Because it didn't amount to anything. What would have happened if he had chosen the others? Would they have, like, gotten to safety and his daughter have been put in danger but still escaped? Like, what was the point? Were they testing him to see what he would do? I genuinely, that part I'm a little confused on. Like, what was the point of that if they all survived anyway? I don't know. But either way, Lucy ended up going to the surface anyway, ignoring the advice and, ideas of everyone else in the vault. The only people who helped her were her cousin Chet and her brother. And Chet was going to go with her originally, but, she tranked him to keep him from doing so, which was smart. Also, the entire thing about, like, Chet having a thing with her, and it's very implied that when they were kids, they had a thing together. They had a little like childhood fling. And mind you, that can happen between kids because kids don't understand like why that would be wrong. Um, but at the same time, it's like the fact that he still loves her and everything while they're adults is just freaking weird. It's like why did you include that? Is it just to show that it's like there's not a lot of prospects in the vault? There's just not a lot of people, so it's like the vault was like maybe um geared towards like choices like that? Because Vault-Tec would do something like crazy like that, absolutely. I'm curious, and because it's interesting, their vault is gorgeous. Like outside of just the hallways that look like every standard vault, like they have like this gorgeous room that has like the hologram sky and everything, all the plant life, and apparently Vault 32 at one point did as well. They're neighboring vaults that are made to connect to each other, presumably 31 as well. And so it's like, it's wild that their vault is like in such great shape and condition. And presumably the other two both were at least at some point as well. So I'm kind of curious, what was the experiment that Vault-Tec was doing with their vault? What was the point of it? Because all the vaults are an experiment. They're all some kind of like social or scientific experiment on the people within. And usually the overseer, not always, but usually knows about that. Because the overseer is the one overseeing the experiment. So I'm wondering what it could be. Just to see how life and generations would evolve over time. I don't know, because it's like, again, some vaults are like really freaking like terrifying shit. Some vaults are just insanity and weird. Some vaults are just blatantly experiments. Like, oh, like I keep bringing up Fallout 4 because it's the one I'm most familiar with. Again, it's like, oh, you're gonna come in here and we're gonna freeze you. Except we're not gonna tell you that because you have to be unaware. We're going to cryogenically freeze you, but tell you you're going into a decontamination chamber. But you're really being frozen, and we're going to see the long-term effects of cryogenic freezing on unaware victims, basically. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's fucked up. But it's Vault-Tec. They do that shit. So, right now, we can see that the Brotherhood of Steel and the Ghoul are both going after this one guy who escaped from the Enclave. And he has a companion with him, Dogmeat. We don't know much else about it at the moment, but those two sides are definitely going to meet up through that. Lucy, meanwhile, has just left the vault and is just kind of wandering aimlessly to try and find her father. She has no real plans at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all comes together, how all of these three different stories connect, where they connect, when they connect, and all of that. I assume each episode's probably going to be sorted out between these three stories as well. Like, we're going to go back and forth between Lucy and Maximus and the Ghoul, and just see what they're doing and how they're going about things and all. Obviously there were a lot of references to the games, a lot of Easter eggs in this, so even just a lot of things like, oh, this is recognizable iconography from the games. It's like, yeah, I know Sugar Bombs, I obviously know Nuka-Cola. It's like all this stuff that you would just recognize, and it all looked good. Like the vending machine, the Nuka-Cola vending machine that I'm still gonna call him Rico, I don't care. Rico was at, the brother. It's like that looked exactly like the Nuka-Cola vending machines. It's like that's spot on. And obviously you have the iconography with the vault boy and everything. Um, you have all of that kind of stuff. The vault suits, the vaults themselves look perfect, like the hallways and everything. It's like everything looks like how it should. Visually speaking, this is gorgeous. Wallen Goggins' ghoul design is fantastic. He looks like a ghoul. I think the only difference is I think in the games the ghoul's eyes are like pure black or something like that. Like they don't look like normal people eyes. Um, but that's not a big deal. Now, I doubt it, but I'm also a little curious if we're going to have any, even if just an Easter egg, if we're going to see anything in relation to synths. Because to my knowledge, and I might be wrong on this, I'm not the biggest Fallout fan. Most of my knowledge is for 4. To my knowledge, though, the synths are only in 4, right? Because they're the creation of the Institute, and that's specifically in Fallout 4. But this takes place after Fallout 4, right? And the Brotherhood of Steel is in here. And the Brotherhood of Steel notably hate synths because they're fucking racists and pieces of shit. And I'm not going to get into all of that here, but I I feel like they could at least make a reference to them. Even if just a subtle little Easter egg. I feel like that could be in here somewhere. Because if this is after the events of Fallout 4, there could be synths running around. I don't think we'll necessarily see a synth character. Um but yeah. Even just like maybe like a newspaper at some point or something, like maybe you'll see something that mentions Nick Valentine. That would be cool. Everyone loves Nick. Something like that though. Um, doesn't have to be like anything big or like an actual like full character who's a synth, but I would like to see something in there. Um, but there's definitely going to be a lot of references. Um, so this takes place in California, right? Or at least that's where Lucy is. Because it's made clear the ghoul was not awakened in California, but he's gonna be going there, and the Brotherhood of Steel is going to the same place that he is for the same person, so they're going there. The Brotherhood of Steel, the I'm trying to think. I don't know where they're originated. Are they originated from? Is it New Hampshire, where Fallout 4 takes place? I don't know. I don't know enough about the series. Probably not. More than likely not. Like I said, most of my knowledge of these games comes from 4. I'm a more casual fan. So keep that in mind. If you want to correct me on anything, as long as it's not a spoiler to the rest of the series, please feel free. Because I don't want spoilers for the rest of this series, because I know it was all released at once and that was a big mistake and everything. But if there's something that you could just tell me that's like maybe, oh, this is just from the games, it's not like a big plot point of the series, that's fine. As long as you don't spoil me to anything from the rest of these episodes. But yeah, this was a great start. I'm really impressed by how they got this going. I really like that it started with a cold open of pre-war events, specifically with the Ghouls character pre-war. Um, and the episode even ended with him currently. So, and I think it did extremely well at matching the iconography, the visual style, the tone. Everything felt right. Um, how would I compare it to something like The Last of Us's first episode? I'd say it's pretty equal. The Last of Us series did not hit its peak with the first episode. It got better as it went along. The first episode was great, and it really set the tone and the mood and the lore and everything into place properly. It looked visually fantastic. It like felt right. It was fantastic, but it did get better from there. And this very much feels like that. It's fantastic. It's a great start. It gets pretty much everything right, but it has room to improve. And it's probably only going to go up from here. So, yeah. Um, really excited to see how this goes. Right now, I don't really have a favorite character or anything like that. It's just too early. Though having that cold open with Walton Goggins' character does endear us to him a little bit more, especially with him having had a daughter pre-war. So there is that. I will give you that. We are endeared to the ghoul a little bit more than the others just because of the pre-war stuff. But I'm still endeared to Lucy as well. Not as much Maximus, but I can see the potential to be endeared to him. So I'm not counting him out or anything yet. Like I said, he's very clearly not a bad guy. He's just indebted to the bad guys and loyal to them. But that will probably change. So, that being said, we have a lot of other shows on the channel. If this comes up, give it a second. There we go. Sorry about that. We have a lot of other shows on the channel that we react to. We react to 2 series every day of the week, Monday through Friday. On Mondays we also do YouTube reactions, and on Wednesdays we have been currently doing gaming content. We have been doing a series of streams for Momodora Moonlit Farewell, but just this week we have finished that. So we will be moving on to Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. And I'm gonna mention by Monday exactly how that's going to show up on the channel and everything. So be patient with me there. This entire thing will be fixed for next week. We also have movie reactions posted every Saturday and Sunday. They are recorded previously earlier in the week, but they are posted on the weekends, just so every day of the week can have something. We also post occasional other videos such as AMVs, countdown lists, and so on and so forth, at random intervals, just whenever I end up getting to them, stuff like that. So, all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, leave your thoughts down below, just no spoilers. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.